Let's begin with the foundations. Welcome to another lecture. I am Alexei, and with me today is Priyanka. Our subject is a compact but consequential case study in contemporary sports entertainment economics and culture. AEW x NJPW x CMLL x Stardom. Forbidden Door 2026.
Hi everyone, I'm Priyanka. I'm excited to dig into how a wrestling show can also be a lesson in coordination problems and global audiences.
To frame our discussion, Forbidden Door is an annual pay-per-view event designed explicitly to stage cross-promotional matches that would otherwise be improbable. Pay-per-view, or PPV, is a one-time purchase broadcast model across cable, satellite, or streaming, granting live or on-demand access to a single event. The four promotions in question are All Elite Wrestling, a United States-based company; New Japan Pro Wrestling, the premier Japanese strong-style institution; Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, Mexico's classic lucha libre promotion; and World Wonder Ring Stardom, Japan's leading women's promotion. This joint structure is not merely ceremonial. It is a matchmaking mechanism that unifies distinct house styles, rosters, and markets into a single evening of interpromotional narrative.
So, in simpler terms, it's a neutral stage where champions and contenders from different companies can actually wrestle one another, right?
Precisely. In 2026, the neutral stage was unusually comprehensive. AEW's Continental Championship remained in-house, with Jon Moxley defeating Bandido, and NJPW's IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship stayed with Shota Umino over Pac. The card also featured an AEW NJPW Dream Bout, Kenny Omega versus Zack Sabre Jr., which Omega won. Importantly, the presentation acknowledged multilingual audiences through English and Spanish commentary teams and multiple ring announcers, thereby making the multinational premise legible to fans in real time. Moving forward, why does this matter beyond a single night of spectacle? Joint events expand global fan engagement because they lower the friction to sampling new styles. A lucha libre aficionado encountering AEW's pacing, or a Stardom viewer finding an NJPW champion, is portfolio diversification for audiences. The 2026 broadcast footprint, traditional PPV, HBO Max subscriber access in the United States, live streams on Prime Video, ppv.com, YouTube, sanctioned screenings at Dave & Buster's and Tom's Watch Bar, and My AEW internationally outside the US and Canada, functioned as a distribution hedge, meeting fans wherever they already were. Historically, promotions defended borders. The Forbidden Door series converted those borders into gates that could be opened strategically.
And it also kind of challenges the old idea that companies should always go head-to-head alone, instead of cooperating where it helps the product.
Two basic facts to anchor us. First, 2026 was the first Forbidden Door officially co-promoted by CMLL and Stardom, elevating them from prior participation to partnership. Second, this edition hosted both Owen Hart Foundation Cup finals, men's and women's, consolidating tournament prestige on one card. Historically, the series began in 2022 as an AEW-NJPW joint effort. In June 2026, the fifth annual event took place at the SAP Center in San Jose, California, with a 12-match slate including a 3-match zero-hour pre-show.
And the finals matter because the winners get title shots at All In later that summer, yes?
Correct. Will Ospreay defeated Swerve Strickland to win the men's Owen. Mercedes Moné defeated Maya World to win the women's Owen, becoming the first two-time and consecutive winner of any Owen bracket. Another peak on the night, branded Death's Door, was a 6-on-6 steel cage match in which Team Briscoe defeated Team DCMJF. The stipulation granted Mark Briscoe a world title opportunity and also accommodated MJF's legitimate knee injury while maintaining narrative velocity. Add Kenny Omega over Zack Sabre Jr., Moxley's and Umino's successful title defenses, and a timely return from injury by Jay White, and we obtain a program that balanced surprise, tournament culmination, and cross-promotional identity. Before we get to the complexities, a brief personal note. As a young man in Russia, I once attended a small wrestling card in a municipal sports hall. The ring was slightly uneven, the ropes squeaked, the mat crackled like an old radio. Yet when two performers synchronized the sequence, the room, which had been cold in temperature and colder in mood, warmed at once. It taught me that the geometry of a good match transcends language. Forbidden Door scales that feeling to a multinational audience.
That image is lovely. So, moving on. Could we organize our analysis around a few big questions?
This logically leads us to 3 lines of inquiry. First, historically, what precipitated CMLL and Stardom becoming formal co-promoters in 2026? Second, counterfactually, what if WWE had not scheduled NXT's The Great American Bash against Forbidden Door that same night? Third, prospectively, how might cross-promotional events shape the industry's next decade? Let's transition to the historical trajectory. In 2024 and 2025, CMLL and Stardom participated in Forbidden Door, expanding the show's stylistic palette but without full co-promoter status. By 2026, codifying them as co-promoters formalized the alliance, and the benefits were immediate. A broadened talent pool made interpromotional brackets and one-off attractions feasible without exhausting AEW or NJPW's rosters. Marketing could be coordinated across the United States, Mexico, and Japan. The card's bilingual and trilingual presentation, segmentation inclusion through Spanish-language commentary with Carlos Cabrera, Alvaro Riojas, and Ariel Levy, and multiple in-ring announcers, Justin Roberts, Arkady Aura, and Takuro Shibata, each carrying recognizable cadence for different markets. Operationally, a deeper referee bench and rotating English commentary teams helped maintain pacing across tournament finals, title defenses, and the large-scale cage match.
I'm curious about the challenges, though. When you integrate 4 companies, what tends to go wrong? Or at least become, fragile?
It's important to understand that coordination costs scale faster than card size. Logistics span visas, travel windows, and television taping schedules. Time zones complicate week-to-week storytelling when Dynamite and Collision, Stardom cards, CMLL shows, and NJPW tours must feed a single crescendo. Stylistically, lucha libre tag conventions, Stardom's pacing and time limits, and AEW officiating norms require negotiated rules of engagement. Booking politics are non-trivial. No promotion wishes to appear subordinate. Thus, finishes are often engineered to protect equity while delivering closure. Injury contingencies, the MJF knee issue is exemplary, necessitate stipulations such as Death's Door to keep a champion visible without a standard singles defense. Finally, rights and distribution must be braided. Traditional PPV, HBO Max's US access, third-party live streams, international streaming on MyAEW, and sanctioned bar partners, to avoid regional blackouts or messaging confusion. On to our next point, the counterfactual. Suppose WWE had not scheduled NXT The Great American Bash opposite Forbidden Door 2026. We can infer that a portion of the overlapping audience would have faced less choice friction, likely increasing immediate live buys and social attention for Forbidden Door, with delayed VOD still capturing residual viewers. Notably, TNA moved Slammiversary earlier that same night, implicitly acknowledging overlap risk. Industry analysis, including reporting by Dave Meltzer, has questioned the effectiveness of direct counter-programming, particularly given instances in 2025 where AEW pay-per-views met or exceeded projections while the counter shows underperformed relative to hopes. However, fragmented metrics across pay-per-view, subscription platforms, and bars complicate definitive comparisons.
Can we say then, what motivates WWE to keep doing it? Is it just competitive signaling? Or is it about keeping their own schedule regular for subscribers?
Arguably both. Maintaining brand momentum means occupying calendar mindshare. Training audiences that premium content will always be available mitigates churn. Counter-programming also asserts market presence, if you will, a show of force. The risks are twofold. First, splitting the shared wrestling audience can depress live engagement metrics for one or both products in the moment. Second, if head-to-head nights repeatedly yield underperformance for the counter show, the signal inverts and becomes reputationally costly. Meanwhile, the bar partner ecosystem behaves discreetly. Most locations screen a single event, so the presence or absence of a competitor can shift casual foot traffic in a very localized, winner-takes-the-room fashion. Speaking of the future, how might cross-promotional cards reshape the industry's topology? First, they normalize the idea that prestige moments can occur outside a single company's canon, as seen with Mercedes Moné's consecutive Owen wins becoming a signature cross-brand narrative that still feeds AEW's All In. Second, they encourage modular storytelling. Tournaments like the Owen function as interoperable scaffolds that partner promotions can host, seed, or intersect. Third, distribution strategies will likely continue to diversify. Redundancy across pay-per-view, subscription apps, open web pay-per-view portals, and official watch party networks reduces friction and amplifies social proof. We also anticipate more deliberate multilingual production. 2026's commentary and ring announcing model is a template rather than an exception.
What if we thought about it like this? Over the next decade, could these shows evolve into touring festival weekends with shared training seminars or youth outreach, or even standardized rule sets for special matches? And does women's wrestling, with Stardom's influence, change the baseline expectations for big cross-promotion cards?
To elaborate, a festival model is plausible. Shared seminars, talent exchanges, and community activations would operationalize the brand alliance beyond one night, creating sticky local footprints in host cities. We also foresee experiments with codified special match rules. Death's Door is an embryonic example, so that large-scale stipulations travel cleanly across promotions. In women's wrestling, Stardom's technical standard and presentation may raise expectations for prominence and match length on joint cards. Mercedes Moné's back-to-back Owen victories materially elevate the women's tournament as a narrative engine rather than an auxiliary feature. From a research perspective, the next step is longitudinal. We need comparative data on audience acquisition, cross-cultural retention, and title match conversion rates post-tournament. Only then can we quantify whether cooperative supercards grow the pie or merely rearrange slices.
Maybe it's just me, but the multilingual presentation stood out. Having Carlos Cabrera on Spanish commentary and multiple ring announcers made the identity feel shared, not borrowed. That seems like an easy win to keep scaling.
Indeed, it is a low-friction, high-impact tactic that signals respect for distinct fan communities while keeping the broadcast coherent. Combine that with robust officiating, well-paced tournament finals, Osprey over Strickland, Monet over Maya World, and a high-stakes team spectacle that preserves an injured champion's aura, and we have a sophisticated case of constraint-driven design. In simpler terms, they solved several problems at once and made it look like fun. To summarize, Forbidden Door is a cross-promotional pay-per-view that turns competitive borders into collaborative architecture. We considered 3 questions. Historically, the path from participation to co-promotion for CMLL and Stardom brought logistical heft and marketing coherence. Counterfactually, absent head-to-head scheduling from WWE, we would expect reduced audience friction and different social dynamics, though precise measurement remains difficult. Prospectively, joint super shows may standardize multilingual production, modular tournaments, and festival-style activations that reshape the calendar and raise the floor for women's showcase bouts. For further study, examine the evolution of interpromotional alliances from 2022 to the present, focusing on distribution experiments and longitudinal fan behavior.
That was helpful to think through, actually. Thank you, Professor, and thanks to everyone listening. So, I guess that kind of sums it up.